This trip started with one small problem. I almost lost my scarf before even leaving Korea. Yeah, great start, right? I arrived at the bus terminal to go to Incheon Airport. Today, I'm finally heading to Vietnam, and honestly, I was really excited. 2 hours later, I arrived at Incheon Airport. Before meeting my trainmate, I walked around the airport a bit. First mission, exchange money, so I went to a bank. Inside the airport, everything was going well until I realized something was missing. My scarf. My cashmere scarf. Yeah, not cheap. So I went into pure panic mode, but somehow a kind stranger had placed it neatly on a nearby display. Whoever you are, you saved my trip. Thank you. Meanwhile, my friends, he thought it was hilarious. Since our flight was early in the morning, we had to stay one night near the airport. So we took a bus and checked into a nearby hotel, and honestly, the hotel was pretty nice. There was even a convenience store inside, so of course, we did something eye shoppings, which basically means buying a snacks we don't need.
약간 매실장아찌 같은 느낌이면.
The next morning, we had breakfast at the airport. Oh, and here's the hotel rooms from yesterday. Pretty clean, right? Before going to Vietnam, we had on important missions, getting rid of our winter clothes, because you definitely don't need a coat in Vietnam, so we stood in line to store them, and yeah, the line was longer than expected. After that, we checked in. It was super early in the morning, so the airport felt pretty empty. We grabbed some quick snacks, and before we knew it, we were on the plane. Destinations, Hanoi. Not gonna lie, the airline window had some scratches, which made it feel a little questionable. Meanwhile, my friends, he fell asleep immediately. If he see this video, he probably going to sue me, but it's worth it. We had our in-flight meal while passing Jeju Island. It was actually not bad. Then we took some aesthetic photos. He said he would send them to me later. He never did. And then, time to sleep. After a long flight, we finally arrived in Vietnam. And yeah, we look exhausted. We wait for our luggage, and then we met our professor. He looked really kind, which was a relief. Also, turn out, we didn't even need to exchange money earlier. Yeah, that happened. By the way, sleeping on the plane, almost impossible. It was noisy. It's uncomfortable. At one point, I seriously thought about opening the exit door. Just kidding. Or am I? Our guys started explaining the schedule, and they gave us some Vietnam water. That's when it hit me. We are actually here. We cruised the Hong River, and finally my first meal in Vietnam, rice noodles, simple but perfect. On the way to our meeting place, I noticed some things. There are motorcycles everywhere. It's not traffic, it's chaos. And crossing the street, that was a challenge. Cars everywhere, no signals. I thought this might be the end, but then... Oh wait, there was a signal. Never mind. The sidewalks were higher than in Korea, so it felt a bit awkward at first, but the buildings, they were so unique, different, kind of beautiful. We kept walking, and before we knew it, it was already night, time's flying in a new city. My friends got really interested in the street shops, so I told him, why don't you buy something for your girlfriend? He looked at something, thought, and about it, and say no. Classic. We also learned something important. Street exchange shops are cheaper than banks. Travel trips unlocked. As we walked through the night market, there were so many people selling things, souvenirs, clothes, snacks, random accessories. Everything felt colorful and alive, but honestly, there wasn't really anything I wanted to buy. And somehow, that made me think about travel itself. Travel always started with excitement, new country, new people, new memories. At the beginning, everything feels special, but sometimes the ending of the trip can feel very different. I guess I will talk more about that later, because during this trip I met someone who was unbelievably arrogant, like genuinely one of the most narcissistic people I've ever met in my life. It was honestly kind of disturbing, but well, everyone has their own life, I guess. And maybe that's part of traveling too. You met all kind of people. Some inspire you, some disappoint you, and some simply remind you of the kind of person you never want to become. Anyway, as long as we never meet again, that's good enough for me. We visited the famous lake with a temple. There were huge trees around it. It felt really peaceful. Suddenly, we heard a loud silence. We got a little nervous, but it turned out to be just a toy. Welcome to Vietnam. And then we saw Uniqlo. For some reason, that felt very comforting. We also stopped by Circle K. There were so many drinks to choose from. Finally, we went back to the hotel. It was a long but really good first day in Vietnam. And yo, I went out alone for a long rather than night. Let's just say that didn't went well. You will see what happened in the next video.
Yeah!